Put in a holding pattern. Travelers in rockets, please remain seated as your flight will continue in a moment. Those travelers awaiting departure, please remain where you are, and a host or hostess will direct you.
Howdy, partners! For your safety, remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train, and be sure to watch your kids. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses, best remove them, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Ladies and gentlemen, your flight has been momentarily delayed. Please remain in your seat until the tower gives us clearance to continue on our present flight path. Thank you.
Why isn't it?
Attention, space travelers. All flights have been put in a holding pattern.
Oh, okay.
Travelers in rockets, please remain seated as your flight will continue in a moment. Those travelers awaiting departure, please remain where you are, and a host or hostess will direct you.
Howdy, partners! For your safety, remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train, and be sure to watch your kids. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses, best remove them, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Ladies and gentlemen, your flight has been momentarily delayed. Please remain in your seat until the tower gives us clearance to continue on our present flight path. Thank you.
Slice of apple pie, wanna see my mind, baby, you just join my ride. Getting ready for the weekend, popping bubbles through the ceiling. Sure, I got dough, but don't need it, cause all I want is your healing. Your healing. I'm the cool kid from the block, I'm the one calling all the shots, shots, shots. Whether you're ready or not, place up, up, up. I'm the cool kid from the block, I'm the one calling all the shots, shots, shots. Whether you're ready or not, hey, I'm about to plant it, drop, drop. We're spinning, spinning on a loop all night. Ride his backseat while he eats my soup for lunch. Feeling dizzy, flying with Lucy in the sky. Think he likes me, but baby, I just do this for fun. Are you ready for the weekend? Popping bubbles through the ceiling. Sure, I got dough, but don't need it, cause all I want is your healing. I'm the cool kid from the block, I'm the one calling all the shots, shots, shots. Whether you're ready or not, hey, I'm about to plant it, drop, drop, drop. Yeah, I'm the best you ever had, but you would never understand that I don't really need a man.
You can just use them. I don't care.
I'm the cool kid from the block, I'm the one calling all the shots, 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 shots. Whether you're ready or not, I'm about to plant it. I'm the cool kid from the block, I'm the one calling all the shots, shots, shots. Whether you're ready or not, I'm about to pump this place up, up, up. I'm the cool kid from the block, I'm the one calling all the shots, shots, shots. Whether you're ready or not, I'm about to plant it, drop.
Bo.
I'm beautiful.
No, you're not. This one isn't either. Thank you.
Who are you, man?
Yeah, who are you?
Who are you?
Where do I sit? Oh, hello. There we go. I don't know what I'm doing.
Apparently we picked a bad day to do the podcast. Apparently it's March break weekend and there's a Leafs game and people probably have a life.
But you know what? You guys who have joined us, this is going to be awesome.
Bye, chat box.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
You know the drill. How was your weekend, Mr. Weight Loss?
I had a rough week. Oh my god. I had a rough week, but the weight loss is going really well.
It is going really well.
It's going really well. I'm down, I think, like 15, 16 pounds now.
That's awesome. That is impressive
Yeah.
in that time that you started. What about you over there?
I was at school all week.
School couldn't be me.
Stay in school?
My week was interesting. How was your Surya?
Work. Drove past Wonderland every single day this week. No, the snowstorm. Did I go in the snowstorm? No, I didn't. Oh, I don't drive past Wonderland or walk around there.
Oh, you don't?
Extended
And you
periods
do?
of time,
And
I
you...
did. I have no life.
And what have you seen while there?
You know what? There's been some exciting stuff going on. Like snow. There's geese.
Oh.
There's cranes.
There's cranes. There's lots of cranes.
There are a lot of cranes.
There's a behemoth crane,
There's
a leviathan crane, and what?
Snoopy. Something railway.
Something railway. Something
There's
railway.
some kind of
There's a crane for that.
Kids railway.
The biggest crane out of all the, this makes no sense to me. So this crane has to be for Tundra Twister as well. That's the only reason I can think of that. But
When I was coming off the highway and I first saw it that day, like how tall it was like as tall as Windseeker. I'm like, oh my god, what are they doing? Are they doing something to Leviathan?
they just remove the top portion of the lift hill and drop it.
I would honestly cry. So yes, the park has been very active this week.
Yeah, it was eventful. Where are we going next weekend?
Okay, so no matter what, it's going to be fun. But first of all, we are going to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Saturday, March 18th. And then we are going to King's Dominion, Sunday, March 19th.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be his first time going there. We are super excited now.
Don't get into anything because your trigger involves some of it's our trigger this time.
Right. Very triggering.
And we are going to attempt to do the podcast next Saturday in Williamsburg. What time does the park close on Saturday?
9 p.m.
So we are going to delay the podcast start time to about 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. most likely, and it's going to be from my phone. So relax a little bit on the professionalism, and we're going to be drunk. I'm a driver. I am not drinking. I am driving. Just Uber to the park. We should all just split an Uber.
From the hotel?
How
an
far is
hour?
it? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to be trashed.
And then there's the bridge toll.
Has most of the big coasters closed. Stop it. We are
Who is
fingers
this?
crossed.
Who is this?
Busch Gardens. Okay, so who are you?
I'm Caden.
Caden Flat Rides.
Caden Flat Rides, yeah.
Yeah, flat rides. Caden flat rides.
No, who are you really?
Who am I? I'm Caden Coasters. I'm on TikTok mostly. I don't know what else.
I feel like I should be playing a sad violin to this right
World's
now.
smallest violin. And if I do not find somebody soon.
My name's Caden, and I make TikToks.
Yeah.
And for $1 a day.
I mean, that's all it costs to feed him, I bet. No? Okay, the mom's shaking her head no in the corner. The mom's here.
She's reading a book.
Yeah, is she actually?
Yeah, she is.
Oh my god! Okay, but you know what? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get right into the trigger.
And I'm already like agitated because we were playing a board game and I lost. And oh, child!
I just clicked the intro. Okay, here we go.
You know what? You know what? This affects you as much as it affects me. So I don't want to hear anything about it. Okay. Don't even get me started, guys. This has been such a process. I can show you the call logs. I've legit been calling these parks like 5 times, 6 times per park. And each time I call, I speak to a different person and I get a different answer. But yeah, I just called King's Dominion 2 hours ago and they got very upset with me.
He was on the phone with King's Dominion, and like I 100% understand their side. Like they knew we were enthusiasts too, but like we're calling from Canada. Like we're calling because we have like a 10-hour drive to your park. We just want to know if it's gonna be open because there's gray area. By the way, there's a chance. As closed indefinitely on the website isn't there. I know, so that's why they updated it. Ryan, we called King's Dominion today, and they said that they haven't... We got two answers. One had said they started getting it ready, and another one said that they had not started getting it ready.
Someone else said Jungle X wasn't even open.
Yeah, and then we called, and she didn't even know if Jungle X was open, so I don't even think they know what's going on in their own park.
So my little tweet prank on Surya backfired on me. So we have Pantheon, that's not going to be open, most likely, and I'll explain why. And I-305 is in the air. Like, the park didn't really know. They said, there's a chance, but we don't know. And he was basically like, are we done helping you now? Like, literally. And I was like, ooh.
And when you call Busch Gardens, it's just not...
Why don't we show them?
Should we show them?
Call Busch
We're
Gardens.
Gonna be calling
you
Busch
guys
Gardens
have to hear
right
this.
now.
They are so unhelpful on the phone at Busch Gardens.
Okay, give me a second. Oh, you guys are going to get a kick out of this.
Can you delay your trip? I mean, like, I really need this trip.
Okay.
You don't have to hold it too close to the microphone because it's going to be... Watch it like you're call blocked.
I think I have that. Oh, here we go.
Thank you for calling Busch Gardens in Williamsburg and Water Country, USA. Our contact center is currently closed. Our normal operating hours are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, I guess that's it.
Please call back during these times to speak with an ambassador.
Ambassador.
And it just automatically hangs up.
And it's like, goodbye!
But you know what? That was almost just as helpful as talking to an ambassador.
Oh my god. He called earlier and the guy was literally like, just check the website. And he's like, yes, but like, we have a far drive. Like, we heard there's a chance that you guys are getting the rides ready. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't piece it together. So we're like, okay, thank you, hung up. I then called King's Dominion and they got frustrated with that.
I mean, as they should.
And then that was my second time.
You're like, have you guys even started getting the ride ready?
I asked them, did they commission it? Is it on the track?
Is it on the track? I'm like, who calls? Can you imagine someone calling Wonderland and be like, is Leviathan on the track? They'd be like...
I would 100% call and ask them that. That's a very valid question.
That's not something they get asked every day, though. But yes, okay, so I figured out a way to look at if the rides are going to be open at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg on our trip. And I was like, why don't I look at Fastlane sales? Because you have to, when you sell a Fastlane, you have to explain what product you're getting with your Fastlane. I was like, so the answer is going to be there. Well, I shouldn't have done that because now I'm upset. Fastlane isn't available to be sold until the 25th. And the winter Fastlane is available till the 25th. So what that tells me is the rides aren't going to be open until the 25th of March.
Fingers crossed that's not true, but it makes logical sense. I will say, though, Apollo's Chariot, Alpengeist, and Verbolten are all phenomenal rides, though. So... it's still going to be fun. And the food. The food. Oh, manger.
Manger.
Yes. And King's Dominion, too. Worst case scenario, no I-305. Twisted Timbers is great. Dominator is great.
What else is open?
Tumbili, Anaconda, Reptilian. So you get a bobsled coaster.
Okay, that's cool. I really want the...
Yeah, that's open.
No, but the...
Flight of Fear?
No. Is Flight of Fear open?
No, it's not.
No, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Sorry, that's fine. Oh, Tempesto.
Tempesto. I really wanted to get on that.
I hope that's open.
I'm triggered.
It is a little triggering. It's a little, you know what? We've actually, I'm not even joking, guys. Like, we've been, this is like the most stressed I think we've been in a while. At least I've been.
Whose poverty phone keeps going off?
I apologize.
Get the Android out of here.
For $1 a day.
The mom's giving us a look. Read your book.
No, but it is really unfortunate. But you know what? It's been such a long winter, and I'm sure all of you can attest to that. Like, we don't want to delay it any longer. And yeah, we might not be able to ride everything. However, there's still a good amount to do.
The good news is I have a camera and I have a camera mount for my wrist, my limp wrist. I'm going to film POVs of our reactions on the ride. It'll be cool. Again, I don't want to hype it up, but the vlog's gonna be really cool.
It is
like
gonna be
we have a plan. It's gonna be a good vlog.
And Alpengeist is amazing. Like, literally is amazing. It would be the best ride at Wonderland.
Verbolten is amazing. It would be the best ride at Wonderland.
Would it?
Yes, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would. Apparently, there's 3 storylines.
I mean, there's a dark forest.
And in the Dark Forest, you get 3. Same with, like, in the
it's
shed.
like a little Red Riding Hood.
Okay. You know what? Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this is about to be a 2 versus 1, okay?
Oh.
This is about to be a 2 versus 1.
Oh, God, here we go.
The next topic.
Here we go.
Don't hate on her.
You know what the funny thing is? You were so adamant against this ride the whole time. All he was like is no. Hey, pipeline this, pipeline that. You're standing up. Who wants to stand up? It only does like one inversion.
It goes.
Who are you? Who are you? The surf coaster looks pathetic.
I thank you.
Yes.
Look at her. She's hauling.
Very, very, very.
She's hauling.
So I can't say Leviathan is hauling, but you can say this is hauling.
Look at her in the sunset.
Look at her barely making it in the sunset.
She's doing great. Sweetie's awesome.
Okay, real talk. We'll do one at a time. Brendan, what are your honest thoughts about this?
Okay. I hate that it's a stand-up.
Okay.
Absolutely hate that it makes no sense for this layout. I think B&M should sell sit-down launch coasters.
So you think
Lower to the ground. This one's a little high, in my opinion. And they should have gone with it's a stand-up, so a top hat would have been weird. But I would like to see B&M, with this same principle, remove that stand-up train, try a launch coaster. Like a sit-down launch coaster. I'm scared because I feel like Wonderland's looking at this right now, and they're like, oh.
You know what? You could probably even keep that same layout with a
How
sit-down
much?
train.
How much for that surf coaster in the window?
And Caden, what do you think of Pipeline, the surf coaster?
Again, this is like a first attempt at a stand-up launch coaster from B&M, so I'm not expecting too much from it. But again, like Brendan said, the stand-up feature, it doesn't seem that appealing being like that. If it was a sit-down and lower to the ground elements, and maybe the corkscrew or whatever they named it as was a little tighter and lower to the ground, that would look better.
You know, just because you're tall like a giraffe doesn't mean...
So, I actually don't mind stand-ups. Like Green Lantern at Great Adventure is very intense. It's a little rough. I think that's fun. But at the same time, I don't think too many people want to stand up on a ride anymore. I think the launch looks a little bit weak. Now, I am a really big fan of launches, and maybe it's just because this was one of the first runs, so maybe it needs to warm up. Maybe it needs more weight on the train. But overall, like, the way it takes the elements, I think is a little bit slow or drawn out. Like, that inversion right there, that reminds me of Gatekeeper, which is so drawn out. And I think this is what most new B&Ms are plagued with, are those more extended elements. And I will say, even Leviathan has it. You know, minus Fury, but pretty much everything B&M has built in the last 15 years is a little more drawn out. And I don't know, when you're standing up, maybe some of these inversions may hit differently. So I have to wait to see for that. But to me, it looks drawn out and it looks sluggish.
I've about had it with your opinions. An Intamin video will pop up on YouTube, first test run, and I'll be like, oh, it's looking sluggish. And he's like, it's the first test run. We can't judge the first test run, guys. This is Surya. I'm Surya right now. We can't judge the first. You got to give it some time to warm up. You know, it's a little colder out. You can't judge it.
Oh, yeah,
a B&M,
cold in Florida? Is it cold in Florida?
A B&M does its first test run. He's like, it's looking sluggish. It's looking lame. It's hardly making through its layout.
I mean, it is. It's true.
I will say that run there looked a lot faster than the sunset video. That run
Yes,
there.
Exactly.
But I'm also going based on this is their first
Look at that.
attempt
That
at a
barely
launch
made
day.
it. You're going to get a rollback on that. 9 times out of 10. I think, you know what? At least they're being innovative. It's a launch, so that it has that going for it.
I'm trying to read a little bit of the comments right now.
Drawn out makes sense for a stand-up, yeah.
I hope that Wonderland doesn't get one of these.
Okay, I do too. I hope that Wonderland doesn't get one of these too. Let me make that clear.
I would prefer Gatekeeper over this, I think, from looks. I mean, it may be the most intense thing ever because you are standing up, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm not too excited.
How likely do you think something like this could come to Wonderland, though?
Highly.
The stand-up?
Yeah, to replace Skyrider. I could 100% see them marketing it something like that. And I think our GP would just eat that up.
Where would they put a Sky Rider in their new themed areas that the park has already hinted that they're going to be working on?
Well, I mean, I really hope this isn't in Whitewater Canyons area because that's a nice plot of land.
Joshua, don't even say that. You are someone ban Joshua right now. I'm kidding. Don't.
Oh my god, what if this goes over the front gate?
What? It would look so ugly. What in the torture device over front gate?
You have to stand 30 minutes in the park just to look at a ride where you stand on.
Oh my goodness. I can't with these two. I need a vacation. Do you have anything else to say about the Surf Coaster? You guys haven't even talked about what other models this could be used as. You're boring enthusiast today.
Okay.
I know when the stream ends, they're going to be like pretty much in a circle like, oh my god, you think B&M can build this?
So, I do agree with Brendan. Now, okay, you really want me to get into it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So, this launch is 60 miles an hour, which is roughly the same as Thunderbird. I love Thunderbird. I think it does everything right for what it is. It has a whippy launch, it does the inversions tight. It does everything nicely. But I don't know. I just think a problem with these stand-up trains may be aerodynamics, because you are standing up. And what you said earlier, you put a sit-down train on this. Like, I think that would be a lot better. I like, okay, this is going to be really far out there, but like the B&M Hypers and the Gigas, like imagine having a B&M launch at like 140 kilometers an hour with that same train, and then you go straight into airtime hills and stuff. I think that would hit the nail on the head. That would dethrone Fury, in my opinion. So I do like.
Did that just come out of his mouth?
I said so. Did I spit?
No.
No.
This could be better than
dethrone Fury.
something that would dethrone Fury.
No. If they did a launch, so imagine you take Fury's speed, but instead of a lift hill, you launch the train. I think that would be really good. Fury, same layout, everything like Fury, but instead of that lift hill, you launch it into that big barrel roll, and then you do what you do. I am excited though, because even what's happening at Mandrill's Mayhem? Where's that launch shuttle wing coaster? So that's B&M's second launch, and this is technically now their third launch, right? So B&M seems to be breaking out of their comfort zone because the first actual launch that they did was Thunderbird. I know people say Hulk drive tires, but I don't think they actually did the drive tire mechanism. I think that was a different company. So it's exciting to see B&M starting to step out of their comfort zone and implementing launches. And as you can see, this kind of has the airtime hill like Pantheon, like Copperhead. So they're getting more creative and intuitive with it. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility where we start seeing B&M take these up to, speeds of 130, maybe 140, like really start stepping it up.
You think they would do that?
I think in the next 5 to 10 years, yeah, a park would definitely want that.
Now I'm worried that Wonderland or Cedar Fair was going to Universal to check a Velocicoaster to get B&M to build them one. But then it's going to be like...
I mean, you know what? Like,
because Grace said it in the last in the podcast with her. She said, we have people at the park who have connections where they could be like, we want this, and they'll build it for us. When she said that, she's referring to our general manager at Canada's Wonderland, and he has a personal relationship with Bulliger and Mabillard where he literally goes on golf trips with them. So that's what he meant. That's what she meant. Ugh.
I mean, I could see, like, eventually it only makes sense because B&M's fastest launch right now, I believe, is still Thunderbird because that's like 62 miles an hour.
So Thunderin? That's triggering.
That is triggering. I could see B&M wanting to step it up to like 75 miles an hour, so like 120, 125, and eventually, depending on the success of this, I know Thunderbird was pretty successful for the park it was at, and depending on the success of this, I could really see more parks approaching them and saying, you know what, we want to launch. So can you do this? So can you do a sit-down style, same train, same layout, but instead of that lift hill, can you launch it? And you know what? That would take up less space too. So I could see a lot of parks, even smaller or mid-sized parks, you know, maybe Silver Dollar City or something like that, would approach them and be like, yeah, give us a 120 kilometer an hour launch, you know, throw in 4 or 5 inversions, give us a sit-down train.
I agree. All right, moving on to our next segment where Caden exposes who he's talking to on his phone.
What?
There's 3 answers.
What? You have to show us your phone. What was the girl you last texted? This is a segment.
Yeah,
Jesus
it
Christ, I
is.
dropped my phone.
I'm kidding, Caden.
No, I'm not.
Saria's not.
No, don't expose
I'm
anybody.
not.
Okay, let's talk about it. So there's an update that I'm going to post tomorrow. I flew my drone. I thought we would talk about Tundra Twister and Snoopy's Racing Railway a little more in depth. Maybe answer some of the questions that we think are good that pop up in the right. But the green is track that's now installed as of yesterday. Today I flew, so today as well, but they didn't work today. So green is track and yellow is support. So they're moving pretty quick. Like, it's coming along. And then we have up here Tundra Twister's supports. These were spotted literally leaving the warehouse like over a month ago now. So like, I find it interesting that we haven't seen these on site. So they're either on site in Wonderland's big maintenance building, or they're in a shipping container on the canal. in the canal coming here. Maybe the boat tipped over.
Were you on it? Is it Caden? Okay. So from what we see here, the green is what's already installed. What does that tell you? How long do you think in total?
So that took them what, 3 days?
3 days. But keep in mind that 3 days was also probably setting up the crane and everything.
Yes, and there was a lot of wind. I was shocked one day that they were working. They only got one track piece installed. I think that's because of the wind.
And also from this, I want to ask you, so the theming that we're going to get, is it going to be at this detail of what we see here?
I don't think so. We would have seen footings. So, for example, even the cylinder tower, we would have seen a footing for that, right?
Right.
I do see footing evidence for a launch shed in the second launch. I am not even sure about the shed that comes out covering the launch, but there has to be, because you need to somewhat cover the drive tire launch.
You do.
So there has to be a shed. So it just may not be that noticeable. I've seen evidence of it, but they're really tiny and it's really close to the track. But I guess this is pretty close to the track too. I don't know. It looked closer to the track from what I saw, but who knows? They even got this little, like, the station is the same. I've seen the station layout.
Okay.
Like the formation, like it's the same as this.
And the queuing?
The queuing, I do not know. I guess it would be the same because it can come out down under all these.
That would be kind of cool. Like, you'd be able to, like, interact with people on the train and stuff. That would be...
Yeah, from what I understand, the entrance to the ride is going to come down around Lucy's tugboat and come down into the almost like the middle of the midway in between Jimmy Neutron. So what is that ride actually called now?
The Whirlybird one?
The Whirlybirds and Lucy's tugboat, somewhere down in between there. I could be wrong about that. That's literally just me guessing based off of stakes that we saw during Winterfest. But yeah, it is weird, in my opinion, that Wonderland went with building a family launch coaster and then calling it a kid coaster. How do you feel about that? Well, you can't talk about this.
First of all, I wouldn't classify this exactly as a family coaster. I think it's a junior family coaster. When I think family coaster, anyways, that doesn't matter. But I think actually this was a really great idea for Wonderland. Like, I'm gonna say this is the most major attraction in the kids park now, right? Like, it's bigger than Ghoster Coaster. It's bigger than Silver Streak. So this was a really big step up. And if you guys have ever been to the kids park, like in the summer, it's just kids and strollers everywhere. And, rides get, a fairly long line. Like some rides, maybe Taxi Jam's probably 45 minutes. Ghoster Coaster pushes an hour. So this is definitely going to be a big success. And I think this really separates our kids area from like other Cedar Fair parks or any other parks kids area really. And I think that's, that was their goal when building this, right? Is they wanted to really elevate the experience in the kids park.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great, I think you just said it, step-up coaster for kids. Yeah, so I think that's a great point.
Like, this is a good transition from, like, after the, I actually think, because this goes faster than Thunder Run, actually. So in my opinion, and the banking is more steep. So to me, this looks better than Thunder Run.
Yeah, that final helix is really banked.
That looks pretty sick.
And I'm thinking that I might not even be able to go on it because the height gap between the lower portion going under seems really small. So, like, I'm nervous that, like, the height envelope.
I didn't even think about that.
So that's gonna. It might be. I don't know. Like, that was concerning to me.
Just also to point it out, the park did confirm that you will need a kid to ride this. Mm-hmm. So, which makes sense. Only one train. I'm sure the line is already going to be long enough than a bunch of grown enthusiasts trying to get a credit.
Yeah, I don't know why you had to spoil that on this podcast. Like, because Caden didn't need to know that's the only reason we're his friend.
Oh,
you thought I was...
Yeah, I thought he was being serious. I got so... I'm like, oh my God.
I'm going to need a kid if I want to go on. What is happening in Discord?
You look like Willy Wonka.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
They're posting pictures of him in Discord. But yeah, I think this was a great addition, and I can't wait for 2025.
Yes, that is definitely... That will definitely be good. What are your thoughts on Tundra Twister's progress?
Okay.
Tundra Twister
Oh my goodness. So I filmed the plot of land today, and it looks like they're getting ready to pour the foundation. But it's like, where is the ride? And how come it's taking so long for them to pour the cement or concrete? Concrete. What? Like, it almost seems like they dig a hole a day and fill it in the next day, and then it dries for a week. Like, that's how slow they're going. Maybe they're not in a rush. This ride will go up, by the way, in a day or two, maybe 2 days, depending on weather.
So, several things though I do want to say with this kind of design. Is because it's kind of going up like a pyramid, right? 4 points of 4 members to disperse the load, but you also need that boom arm, right? You need that boom arm installed, and then you'll need the gondola installed to help it all secure itself. So maybe they're waiting on more components of the ride vehicle.
Yeah, like, because it's one of those rides where they're going to need 2 or 3 cranes, right?
To hold it all together until it's fixed together.
It's like Lego, guys. But Wonderland's really good at building flat rides. Like, they go up in a day or two. It's crazy.
And the thing is, they could be delaying pouring the concrete pad until everything's ready to go, because they really only need 48 hours before it becomes hard enough where they can actually work on, and the concrete pad won't have any load. It's an engineering term.
I don't know.
It's a technical term, Brendan. It's a technical term.
Don't mind me. Yeah, I don't know, like, I mean, this is going to lead on... Oh, no, we're going to that dark topic after here. I should have put the Wonderland future expansion after this, but that's okay.
I could switch it up a bit. There was something actually I wanted to say and kind of ask you. It's interesting that this does not touch anywhere where Dinosaurs Alive used to be, right?
Yeah. No, it does.
Oh, it does? Where?
Yeah. Well, the main entrance to Dinosaurs Alive, this takes up all that. Oh, and then the first turn. But there's a weird staging area that shows signs of, I don't know if it's for this ride because they're actually using another staging area for this ride, but they've been building a weird flat area just off to the right of this ride. And I've been keeping my eye on it because it's a little weird. There is construction materials for this ride in that area though, so I'm thinking it's nothing, but they literally bulldozed like this whole section. And I've noticed they haven't been using it to store track or anything. They haven't, it's just weird. Obviously, they're going to use that land in the future for expansions, and next year is going to be a slightly more boring, even though I don't think it's going to be fully boring. I think Wonderland's going to get a pretty good investment again in 2024.
Well, even as we talked about in previous streams, right? Like, the years that we don't really get anything or that we don't really get rides, there's still stuff going on at the park. There's infrastructure upgrades, there's all different types of upgrades that are happening, and that costs a lot of money. So there are still things going on behind the scenes, right?
So let's talk about it. What are they doing right now? Like, think about it. This is the most active off-season Wonderland has ever had.
Yeah.
Like, you have Leviathan... You have Leviathan welding going on the main support structure for the lift hill. And there was a video I needed to show you. You would have lost your mind at it because it's like they're doing welding. Like they had like this big plate, and for some reason it was, so picture the support, and they had the plate coming out like that. Could you explain that? Like, why would they do that? So picture this. They had the sheet of metal coming out sideways and welding
weld
it
perpendicular.
Yeah.
So they would probably just cut around it then. So if the crack was there, they would weld a plate there and then just cut all the excess off and grind it down.
Yeah, I meant to show you that video, but it's really interesting because okay, sorry, I was trying to. They have that. They have the front gate plumbing.
Yeah.
They have behemoth chain.
That's cool.
There's more, and I'm forgetting it.
There was some infrastructure that they were doing by the mountain.
Oh yes, the putting a generator as a secondary option if the power goes out for the mountain, or if they need to cut the power for certain things. So it's a lot, and the generator is massive too. Like,
and they will be, working on the water park.
Yes, and the water park and the plumbing house and all that, and then you have Mindbuster. Nothing for wild beasts, and we are definitely getting way too late to do anything to wild beasts. So I pay attention to that.
But the point is, like, all of that adds up. Like, it might seem like little projects, but if you add all that together, I wouldn't be surprised, with the labor and the specialty equipment and the specialty parts, you could be pushing, $3, $4, $5 million easily.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, yeah.
That's cost that does come out of that type of budget, right? Like, it would come out of, I'm sure they have, like, specific maintenance budgets, but even when unexpected things happen, that cost has to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, and then, sorry, Clockworks is getting a complete refurbishment. Like a complete refurbishment. Swings of the Century is getting refurbished. Like, it's all like Wonderland's literally like,
there's a lot going on.
Oh my god! And they could have just not painting Clockworks,
and then
they could have painted
Behemoth.
Behemoth is sitting there like, in Fantasia when the dinosaurs are all dying because they're walking through the desert. That's Behemoth.
At least it's getting a nice new chain.
Thank you. I needed it. The one time we got stuck up there and the whole tower is wobbly. I don't know if that was because we were uneven weight, me being the skinnier one.
Oh, yeah, at the time, I don't think so. That train got extra attention, let me tell you.
I'll have you know. I don't know what I'll have you know.
Yeah, what will you have to know?
Okay, guys. This is a little bit of a dark topic next. Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
I didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, I remember we had a conversation if we were gonna.
I said I wanted to stay out of this topic for specific reasons. The mom's looking at me right now like, are you guys about to get canceled? No. Okay, so everyone knows my opinions on Marineland. Everyone knows what I've said about the marine life. I know people who have specifically looked after this animal and the belugas. And I know that Marineland had a really bad past with looking after animals. I remember visiting Marineland. My first vlog at Marineland, Kiska was in bad shape. And I think this was just after the death or just before the death. I can't remember. And the animals were not being taken care of well at all under the guy's leadership, the husband's leadership. They weren't. So there is some truth to what the animal activists say about Marineland's past. But when Marie took over, the wife, she did make a lot of changes to Marineland. The people that work with the animals literally said that even if Marineland told them that they had to take bad care of the animals, they would refuse. And that Marineland was trying everything. They had all these toys, enrichment toys. They were getting fed a lot. She is an old whale. She definitely didn't live a good life at Marineland, and whales should not be in captivity. So please let me make that clear. I am not defending Marineland. I'm not defending whales in captivity. Unfortunately, Kiska's probably in a better place right now. And this now makes it so there are no whales in captivity in Canada, which is, well, that's not true. No killer whales.
No
There's
orcas.
still belugas, yeah. But Marineland is working to get rid of their belugas, by the way. From what I understand. I feel like I should say, from what I've heard, speculation. I was not calling Marie an old whale.
That's why I started laughing.
Oh my god, did I make it sound like that? I mean, she is old. So the park is up for sale. I was under the impression it was sold, but it most certainly looks like it wasn't. So the people either backed out, or they're looking for a tax break for these people. But I understand that the park is actually trying to get rid of all their animals. That was the rumblings I'd heard through the grapevine from trusted sources, that they would be phasing out the animals, especially the new owners, and so forth. What am I trying to say is I think that it's obviously really sad that Kiska passed away. Again, I think it's for the better for Kiska. And no animal should be in captivity. But I will say that people were focusing a little too much on Kiska and not focusing on the right animals. So when it comes to Marineland, there's one animal group at this park that I think is absolutely disgusting, and I would not defend Marineland at all over, is the bears. The bear exhibit is, and as a bear myself,
Like a nimble deer.
a nimble deer,
Very athletic.
like an ogre at Haunt, the one at the bridge guarding Leviathan. That's you.
Yes.
The bear exhibit should be the focus of, like, Marineland needs to get rid of those bears and send them off to better places and close that exhibit. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. There's no reason that the bears should be swimming in their own filthy water and the fish carcasses all over the water and it reeks and there's seagulls everywhere. Just get rid of it. Outside of that, again, I kept saying this to Surya. If I put Surya in a playpen, even though he's living a good life, he's getting fed well, anything, a drone from above with sad music of watching Surya walk around the playpen, it's going to make him look like he's being abused. You could film anything in a pen. Like, I could go to the Toronto Zoo with my drone and put sad music over a drone shot over the animals, and people are going to be like, animal abuse! But at the end of the day, I get it. A whale should not be kept in a small exhibit, but she was too old to transport. She was way too old to transport. She would have most likely died in transport, or stressed out in transport. It was better for her to stay at Marineland. Unfortunately, she was getting taken care of pretty well. I can stand behind that. But focus on the bears now, guys. Like, Marineland needs to get rid of the bears. Your guys' thoughts. I just spoke so much.
Oh God, you know what?
Yeah, you're gonna dig yourself a grave now too.
Yeah, it's terrible. No. So yeah, like, you know, Kiska was in captivity for 40 years, and just to think about 40 years, like that's a long time, right? And when Kiska was put in captivity, you know, back then there were different views, different laws, different things, right? And it's very unfortunate because unfortunately it was captured and put in captivity for the pure exploitation of making money, right? And that was the old thinking. But, you know, I only went to Marineland once in like 15 years, and that was last year when I went. But Kiska genuinely looked happy. You know, I don't know what Kiska was like 5 years ago or whatever, but when I personally went, the one visit I went, she looked happy. She was like flippering around. She had lots of care, well, I don't know what they do. But
Flippering?
like flippering. They have lots of care. She had amazing, very highly educated handlers. Like, they were there and they wanted you to ask questions. Like, they were so open about what they did, which is something I feel like maybe Marineland should do a better job of advertising.
Yes.
And something that people need to understand is they actually aren't hiding anything. Like, if you go to the park, you don't feel like they're hiding anything. Now, there is the bears, which I am not touching on. We all know that's appalling. But strictly speaking, with the orca, you know, they were very well educated and they were willing to answer any question you had for them. And, you know, they said that they had amazing medical staff always on standby, and she had a full support team with her on standby. She had enrichment, and I think, you know, and I know what happened in the past was extremely tragic, but the last few years, I really do think Kiska was receiving the best possible care any animal anywhere in the world in captivity could have received. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, just transport her. But because of certain regulations and just her age and the logistics of transporting an animal that weighs, you know, 4,000 pounds, that's very difficult. And then where do you bring her? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to put her on a truck filled with water for a 15+ hour drive? No, that's most likely going to cause the animal to go into shock and kill them. In fact, I think that has.
It has.
That did happen, unfortunately.
Then they freed Free Willy, and he died.
And he died. He didn't, because he didn't know what to do, right? Because they've been in captivity for so long. And I know it's such an unfortunate situation, but because they've been in captivity for so long, they cannot survive on their own anymore. They become dependent on their feeding schedule, on their handlers, on their enrichment, on stuff like that. So, towards the end of her life, I think the best thing they could have done is what they did, and that's just try and make her as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
Just like touching on what you guys said, like, yeah, there was nothing they could do for transportation wise, and even if the transportation did go successfully and she was put in a sanctuary or something, technically in a sanctuary, she would still be set out in deeper waters to hunt, which I don't really think, or she wouldn't really be able to do. And being in captivity since 3 years old, swimming in the same circle. There was a story about, I think it was SeaWorld's orca, or someone else's orca, they sent her to a sanctuary and she just swam in the same circle and ended up dying in that one circle. So even transportation to a sanctuary wouldn't do well for the orca.
Yeah, that's essentially what I heard when I talked to someone. Is if they transported Kiska, there were two options. She was going to be stressed, really stressed, and then it would have caused trauma, and it would have taken her a really long time, or she would have died. It was two options. Like, there was no way that you can transport Kiska at that age, and she'd be like, yeah, I'm on to a better place. Even though it is a better place, the pens that they send them to are better than the tanks that they're being stored in. Again, I am not sitting here and defending it. I'm just saying people are a little too hard on Marie. I know that she was the wife of the previous owner and she probably could have spoken up, but you don't know the circumstances of that marriage. You do not know the circumstances of that marriage. She could have, and knowing him, the stories I heard about him, how he went into that trailer park that they owned and kicked that woman out, and she then did something horrible to herself. Like, he sounds like a terrible person, and she could have been in a position where she had no say in running this park. And the minute she took over this park, she strived to do better, and it showed. I saw Kiska from my first visit to my most recent visit. There was an improvement in her skin, in her, instead of just floating there. If you remember, Kiska there would be videos where she would just float there. Mm-hmm. She was swimming, and they had enrichment training. They had people in there literally playing with toys with her, teaching her to be vocal. Do you know that Kiska was taught how to tell them when she's sick? That's why you saw her in the, what do you call those pens? The medical bay for the last 2 weeks. Is like, she signals when she's not doing well. So she's trained really well, and she's taken care of really well. Now, Marineland's most certainly not perfect, and they need to move quicker in fixing these issues. It's possible to euthanize anything, but I don't think they would ever do that without it being needed. I have a feeling that she probably was.
Depending on her condition. Yeah.
Well, depending what I have a feeling. So from what I know from the situation, this is just speculation. I don't know this for sure, but I heard that the government of Ontario was there for a week before she passed through the whole process, and they had outside vets there as well. So she was being looked after outside of Marineland as well. But what do you hope for Marineland's future? Because now I feel like this is unfortunately, a step in the right direction.
This is definitely a turning point in Marineland's history, and I think Marineland has acknowledged this for a couple of years now, and they were making Kiska comfortable, but I really hope, and I know there's still a lot of work to do. Like, they have other marine animals, and they have the bears specifically, they have the deer, but I really hope, and I honestly do think that Marineland is going to start, phasing this out and being more humane and more open, and I think that their smartest course of action now would be to focus strictly on the amusement park aspect of the property, right? So focus on rides, maybe focus on shows that don't involve animals, like some form of entertainment, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get some more restaurants around the park instead of that main one at the front. Like, from what I remember, there is only one main restaurant
with like 3 people.
Yeah. Well, focus on getting more major food areas around the park, some different entertainment, obviously fill in with some rides and everything, but with the animals slowly getting out of the picture, unfortunately the belugas with their age might have to suffer the same fate as Kiska.
Oh my god!
They are well cared for!
They are cared for, but with their age, like Kiska.
I'm burning up!
Just to point out, though, with the belugas, it is the same situation where it is extremely difficult to transport an animal of that size, and that's been in captivity for that long. So it's not Marineland saying we're keeping these to make a profit. It's more like, what's in the animal's best interest?
Well,
There's also multiple.
well. I don't want to defend them that much. They're a business, and no business in this world is looking out for anyone's best
Well, no,
interest.
I meant
Yeah.
the belugas, not the dolphin. When we went there, I saw the dolphin show, and yeah, that needs to be shut down. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think it's just right that they get rid of all the animals. That's like, I just want my message to be clear. Like, the animals need to go, but like, people are overreacting with this stupid drone that keeps just flying over these tanks. Again, I'm gonna do it. I said I wanted to film a funny segment. We need to do it. So you're just walking in circles.
Have you walking in circles around Wonderland's
and I'll play the
lot?
same sad music.
For $1 a day.
For $1 a day, you can feed him because he ain't getting fed well.
Where did that come from?
But yeah, they definitely need to focus on the rides. They need a world-class attraction at that park that Wonderland does not have, and that you can see anywhere, because Niagara Falls is such a letdown. You know what's funny? I was talking to someone at work, and they said it themselves, that Niagara Falls is so embarrassing when you look at it. Like, it's literally an arcade, an outdoor arcade with a Ferris wheel and the cheesiest attractions you can buy, when they really could go all out and make it a really classy place.
I think, though, the best thing there to do from someone who's 19 or above is the casino. No, I think Marineland, now has an opportunity to prove to the world that they're not, they don't want to profit off animals anymore, and they should use this by, focusing on rides and focusing on an amusement park aspect. They should also probably install an elevator up to Skyscreamer, because that walk really sucks.
You're so lazy. Oh my god. It is a really bad log, especially at 40 degrees Celsius. Oh my goodness. I look so cute in that photo. That was me judging you when you said they need more restaurants.
Even think of the land Marineland has, though. The amount of land that Marineland has to work with, like, they could use that to their advantage of expanding a lot after the animals and everything. Just obviously they have a lot of walking with nothing there, but after expanding they have so much land to work with.
If I was using my business brains and I bought Marineland, let's say I had money like that to buy Marineland, what I would do is sell half the land to fund the improvements that the park would need, because you could sell that land and fund the investments for that park and then some. So that's what I would do. I would sell half the land and build a Top Thrill Dragster clone.
Coaster.
I would build, no, because there's one. You need, I would build an Intamin launch coaster, a Red Force clone, a good GCI. I would build these attractions that, embarrassed Wonderland. And then I'd build a good dark ride. You hear that, Wonderland? A good dark ride.
I have the phone number for Triotac.
Yeah, put them on the phone! Yeah. Put them on the phone! I get sent media invitations by them. They send me media emails, and I'm like, have you not watched my videos? I hate your products. So, yeah. What would you guys do if you bought Marineland? You first, Orca.
So, I would definitely try and address the animal issue. That being said, though, I would definitely focus on the amusement park aspect. Yeah, I would really try, depending how much money I had. If it was like an unlimited roller coaster tycoon thing, I would make it, like a Wonderland Cedar Point, like just focus on the thrill rides. No, actually, you know what I would honestly do, and this is taking a book, like a leaf out of your book, I would also try and build like a resort, like a lodge or something, like really make that a destination place, because they do have the space, and that's something Wonderland doesn't. So they already have, a one-up on Wonderland that Wonderland could never have, because they have all that land, so you could build a really nice resort, like all season complex attached to a extreme thrill park, maybe do like nice walking trails or something like that.
Can you imagine a city walk, a proper city walk in Niagara Falls on Marineland's property, and then the theme park? Can you imagine having good restaurants and like even like something that's like cool to the area? So for example, Niagara Falls gets a lot of, I hope I'm not getting the terminology wrong, but Middle Eastern, and in like they get a lot of like that culture in Niagara Falls. When you go, it's very prevalent. So I think I say the same thing for Wonderland, that they should build off that, build like restaurants that cater to that culture and atmosphere. If I bought that, I would 100% do that, and then others as well. But I would love to see City Walk in that too.
So if I had that, for Saria's sake, there would be more restaurants and everything around the park.
Will you shut it with the goddamn restaurants?
Put a Mandarin in there.
There were 3 people in that giant wood shack, and you want more?
For Saria's sake. And then, again, I would expand on more of the amusement park side, like a RMC at Intamin, and then I would also finish Dragon Mountain's theming at Niagara Falls there at the back where it was supposed to be. Finish off that one volcano spot where we were told it was supposed to be, a dragon in the middle of it? Something like that. So finish off Dragon Mountain's theming. And just mainly focus on that amusement park industry with bigger rides, and especially in that area looking down at the valley, maybe just some areas around there. Some good high rises and stuff to look over.
Did this enthusiast just say he wants high rises built on Marineland's property? Or did I hear that wrong?
I think he meant high rides.
Oh.
High rides.
Yeah.
Okay. I was triggered for a second.
Could you imagine
Something
a
like
Windseeker?
Windseeker.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys his address 1 second. The mom's looking at me.
Something like Windseeker.
That'd be really nice.
As Kimberly mentioned, she would love to see a water park at Marineland. We might be having some breaking news coming in the next week about a water park project coming to the GTA somewhere. And it's not the Therma Group thing. But yes, my sources are rumbling about a potential water park project, maybe by Pro Slides. So I should know more in about a week, guys. It's not Wonderland related either. There's one last good topic. Are we done talking about Marineland?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kiska.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened.
In true Canadian fashion, we should probably just bulldoze the land and build a shopping district.
That no one can afford.
But yeah, let's talk about the goods.
Oh, look at that B&M wing coaster. Oh,
It's a lift hill one. You don't like it.
better than Pipeline.
It is better. I would prefer this over Pipeline. A stand-up version of Pipeline.
Okay, Brendan, what are we looking at here?
Okay, so I've been doing some thinking, and I'm going to spill the things that I said I didn't want to spill. Remember when I said I didn't want to reveal where the distance markers were?
What park is this?
This is Wonderland.
Oh my god, that's Whitewater Canyon. Sorry, I'm sorry.
The title of it is...
Between him, who doesn't know which park we're covering, and him, who wants restaurants at Marineland, which gets 5 guests a day, I don't know who I'm with right now.
Oh yeah, because that's Action Theater.
Okay. So I'm going to explain this, guys. There's colors on the screen. You're probably looking at me like crazy. I didn't want to reveal my information because there are people that copy my information, and there are people that then make videos with my information as if it's their information. And I'm learning to be more okay with that. But this was important information about 2025 that I didn't want to discuss. But Surya knows it. Even I think you've known it because we filmed a lot of it this year. But in yellow, you'll see where distance markers were or markings were. And then in red, you see total possible expansion area. And in blue, I've actually, that's a second option for a possible water park expansion if Wonderland ever needed it. So what I was trying to say there is maybe that land isn't necessarily available for expansion. I've heard people say that is protected land and that Wonderland can't develop it. But when you go onto Vaughn Planet, that land is actually available and under amusement development. So according to that, Wonderland is very much able to develop that land. So this is interesting because if you look at the yellow distance markers, and we now know that distance markers mean something.
Very important.
If for those of you that don't know, I was pretty accurate in predicting where the stuff was coming in 2023. And it's because of distance markings that we were like, yeah, there's something coming here. Why else would you pay a company to come in and measure the distance? So when you see a distance marking, you have to picture someone standing there almost with like a camera sensor, right?
Yeah.
And they're from a specific location, i.e. a ride, because you don't need to measure the distance of a building, a standalone building, to see like...
So clearances. They're looking
yes,
for clearances.
Clearances, exactly. Thank you. The engineer here. So when you see distance markers, there's a very specific reason. And we now have distance markings this season that popped up in those yellow circles. There's one of two options that these distance markings could be for. It could be for a similar expansion that we saw at Carowinds, the aeronautical. So we could see multiple flat rides. And in fact, if you look at it, they kind of look like areas that flat rides could go in. The other option is they're getting ready for the big coaster. Again, I can confirm that Wonderland is going to get a new coaster in 2025. Surya can too. It's very obvious. They're getting a coaster in 2025. I can put that in as concrete as possible. There's a chance I could be wrong, but you know what?
There's a good chance.
There's a good chance that we are right. We're right.
Very good chance.
A very good chance. And I think that these markings, and there's more markings too, by the way, that I didn't circle. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse. I'm moving my mouse as if you guys can see. But there's markings over by Action Theater. There's markings in and a little bit around. Not so much that would cause like us to be like, oh, they're starting already. But in Whitewater Canyon, there's like an orange marking here. Mm-hmm. There were distance markings 2 seasons ago on the handrails in Whitewater Canyon's queue line. So again, now that back then in 2021, I didn't know what distance markings were. So I was like, okay, cool. There could be something coming here. I filmed it. If those of you that remember, the little orange marking and then the marking like for the scanning. So again, they're checking for clearance. So, I mean, there's pretty good evidence that something big's coming. Well, we know something big's coming in 2025. And I think that it's pretty evident that this is the area that Wonderland's going to finish up over the next couple of years. So Frontier Canada is an unfinished product, and I think 2025 will end Frontier Canada.
It's, yeah, and you know, it is also worth pointing out, too, that distance markers usually pop up, 24 to 18 months before an actual project starts breaking ground, right? Yeah. And that puts it in line with 2025, or... you know, for opening for 2025. So that means like things would start in, when would you say, like July 2024?
Yeah. So the likelihood of this being for a flat ride isn't that likely.
And another thing is too, unless they do go the Aeronautica route, which I personally don't think they will because we already have a lot of flat rides. Why would you need so many so spaced out? Because I believe there's even some more south on that path, right?
There is, yeah.
So you wouldn't need that much spacing for like even 1, 2, even 3 flat rides. Like you wouldn't need that much. And, you know, a lot of buildings too are also have the distance markers, right?
Yes.
So,
and there's been a little bit of weird land clearing here. It's been really weird, and they dumping dirt almost as if they're getting ready to level.
Through the blue.
Oh yes, the blue. I keep thinking you guys can see my mouse. The blue area. There's been a little bit of signs. So if it's this big area, there's only really one ride that would take up this much land.
I still could see a multi-launch coaster potentially.
Taking up that much land? Really? Multi-launch they would want to keep close to home because like it doesn't need to go out and back.
Well, it depends on how long the launch is. Like if they launch it at 1:30, you're still gonna need like.
He really wants. Girl,
No,
we're talking
but-
about mock here.
Well, here's the thing though, right? Like, and I could very well be wing coaster, but what would you theme it to? So you'd probably theme it to a bird or something, and we already have a bird in that area.
You could theme it to logs. I think
Like flying logs.
I'm pretty confident that whatever we're getting is getting themed to either wolves or logs. It's one of the two.
like log run.
It makes more sense for it to be themed to a logging camp to fit with Whitewater Canyon. And Whitewater Canyon ain't going anywhere. Even though there are trends that parks are removing these because they're dangerous. They are dangerous, and we've seen it even this last teens standing up.
Well, they're
That
only
is
dangerous
dangerous.
because of stupidity.
Yeah, but you have to view the guest as a stupid guest.
Oh, so a lot of them are.
But I think if it's this whole land, we're looking at a B&M.
I'm still on the fence about that. I'm genuinely on the fence. I could still see a multi-launch coming. I could see a bigger multi-launch. Like maybe they saw Copperhead and they're like, okay, can we beef this up a little bit?
And then they looked at you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is a really interesting. Can I get a promise from you guys? If you see anyone else talking about this information, this was us. Okay, no one else knows these things. No one else filmed these distance markers. No one else filmed these markings and area. This information is us. We're the only ones that know for sure that we're getting a coaster in 2025 as well. So I know that people are going to copy exactly what's being discussed in this video, and I just want it to be almost like copyrighted right now until the season starts. And then people can go and film these areas, and then it's everyone's information. But, like, I'm really...
Keep us in your mind.
Keep us in your mind, because I'm protective of my information, because this was a good find. And I noticed these things right away. But yeah, I'm really excited for 2025.
I am too, and it's also worth noting too. Didn't we actually find some markers more north
Oh.
up in Kidsville?
Up near Silver Streak, yes.
So it is like a big project.
Yeah, that could be infrastructure for this. But Action Theater is just like, it's sitting there like, I was a planned attraction. What happened? Now I'm full of raccoons.
It's going to be called the Toronto Experience.
That's wrong.
Foreclosed.
But yes, pay attention to Grace's podcast, by the way, that she was on. She did reveal a lot more information than I think people realized at first. Like, we're like, okay, now we know that this isn't coming and this is a more of a chance, and then that's definitely not a chance. So we're not getting a wooden coaster for sure at Wonderland. Like,
Yeah, I can-
like we're not getting a wooden coaster. And Joshua, it brings up a good point. Cedar Fair is due to take back the wing coaster record, and what better park with more? Like, this land's insane for a wing coaster. I don't want one, guys. I'm not saying that. I want the mock extreme spinner themed to a log camp, but I'm really nervous that they're looking at the capacity, and this park is a nightmare for capacity. And I'm telling you right now, I've already heard rumblings of the training going on at Wonderland, and it's all about capacity this year. It's all about how many guests they can get in. It's not from him. He hasn't even started, by the way. No. I'll tell you right now, none of my information comes from Ride Ops or anything. They don't know anything. They know like on announcement day about things. But I know a wing would be a better business decision.
So my other problem with a wing coaster is it would run too similarly to Yukon Striker.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I feel like guests would kind of be like, huh, well, I rode this. Now I don't really need to ride that. Let's go ride the bike.
And I don't want to upset you guys because we don't know what kind of coaster it's going to be. We know the price tag, and the B&M coaster fits into that price tag, and a mock extreme spinner fits into that price tag. A wooden coaster doesn't fit into that price tag. An Intamin fits into that price tag. So we're able to like kind of limit things down, but we don't know the model at all. We don't like it. Could be a big family coaster. It could be.
Well, what else were you saying, or we were discussing too? It's interesting to see what other parks, like our sister parks, might get, like maybe Carowinds, what they get.
Yeah.
What Kings Island's future maybe, what King's Dominion's future maybe, right? Because like.
Yeah. What scares me about this plot of land, though, for a wing coaster, I just have to say is because Key Switch has said like they'd go for a launch wing coaster. This plot of land, guys, is sitting right next to the highway.
I would go for a launch.
Free marketing. So what do you think they'd want to build along one of Canada's most major highways? A tall lift hill with really cool elements. That's free marketing. That's free marketing on an attraction you were going to build already. I can't see Wonderland going down the launch wing coaster route. They have a record they need to take back from another park. So, what would you like to see?
Personal preference, I know what I like to see, but realistically thinking Wonderland, the Mock Extreme Spinner does seem like a cool ride, and I would love to see one of those. It does look like a lot of fun. But I personally don't see us getting one before the wing coaster. But
Shut up. He's not allowed speaking anymore. I'm kidding.
I would
like this.
No, I would like to see the Mock Double Launch Coaster. It seems like a lot of fun. Even something like Copperhead, I like to see that. Something launch that's not backline.
I would love an Intamin multi-launch or a B&M invert.
Guys, an invert's not going to happen. We would have already seen signs.
I think an invert is possible in the next 10 years.
Well, yes, but you would have to see a ride get removed. Am I the problem?
I'm gonna make him ride Alpengeist 20 times until his legs fall off.
I hope we don't even know. We go there. We drive 10 hours. I hope we drive 10 hours and all the rides are shut down.
We're going to Carowinds then.
As long as you don't charge us for the hotel that we've already paid for.
Okay. Never mind.
Guys, we don't have a Karen review yet. Surya you said you were going to get one, did you?
Next week we'll make it up. I'll make it up.
I've been a little, this was thrown together today because I've had a really rough week. I don't know how to explain that to you guys without getting too in-depth. I've had a really rough week. So yeah, this was thrown together today. Give us a second. We're missing something. Yes, I see you guys talking about it. Do you have something to show us, Surya?
Yes, I do. I do. Now, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Don't touch me.
So I can't remember because when we were driving to Cedar Point, Brendan brought this up, but we were also very tired. I can't honestly remember if I've shown you this, but I've kind of disassembled it, so now you can really get a more accurate picture, and I did a little more research about what it is so I can explain it to you guys better. And, okay, hold that. Okay, so this...
You haven't shown this before.
This?
You have not shown this before.
He has, but just not disassembled.
Oh, really?
I can't remember if I've shown that.
This is...
Yeah, you should.
Have you? I don't remember this.
I don't
Guys, did
remember
we
that.
show it?
So, no, okay, Key Switches brings it up. This is actually, it's not even a bolt.
It's so
Don't
heavy.
take my teeth out, please. This is not a bolt, even though it looks like a bolt. This is actually called a locking pin.
Do you want to hold it?
So, what this is a locking pin for Top Thrill Dragster's catch car. So, when the catch car of Dragster comes in under the train, what's called a chain dog or a pawl drops down into the mechanism, right? That locks it into the catch car. Then it accelerates. But that pawl is attached to the train via a sled, a big steel sled. And the thing that keeps the sled onto the train is this locking pin. So...
You trying to grab it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll try to grab it. We're not hitting you. So it basically just slides in, and then there's two locking nuts on either end, right? So it took me forever to take the nut off. No, okay, no. Let's be realistic here. This is a self-locking nut because you can see it kind of has the divots, those slices in them. So,
What was that? Oh! I don't like sound, you know that?
oh, that's. So sorry. This is titanium.
Titan.
So you would lock it on either end of the slider, right? And you twist, and a regular nut, yeah, you can kind of twist it off. But when you get it tight, there you go. You saw that? I didn't apply any pressure. Brendan, try and unscrew that. Caden, try and unscrew that. Try and unscrew that.
What's it in my face? Oh, God.
You can't
Jeez.
because it's a
No,
lock.
you
It's
can't.
a lock nut.
How did you get it off then?
WD-40.
WD-40 and a hammer.
Not me looking.
So
Stop.
there would be another one on this end too, and that's what would lock that pawl into place while the train rocketed down. So in a sense, this titanium pin is what takes the full 12,000 pounds of dragster. So that's
Can you get it out of my face?
I apologize.
I really miss him.
I apologize, but yeah, so this is what would take the entire weight of the train, and the force of the launch would basically be resting on this titanium pin. And it is, yeah, it's very big. It's very big. Kane, do you want to hold the big thing? Wait till you see what I bring next week. Might make Kane a little upset. How heavy is it? It weighs about 18
Howdy,
pounds.
partners! For your safety, remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train, and be sure to watch your kids. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses, best remove them, because this...
Okay, I'm really red right now.
Yeah, he is really
Whoa,
fresh.
okay.
Yeah, it weighs about, how much did it cost? Did it crash? No, it didn't crash. So I won this at Coastermania 2014. There was a trivia question, and I was able to have my hand up before anyone else was. That's how I won it. No, but yeah, it's solid titanium. It weighs about 18 pounds. It is incredibly strong, and it makes Brendan really giggle. Can I see that, Kane, actually? Brendan, would you please care to hold on to my...
No.
Could you please
Absolutely not.
Well, we'll see, Brendan. Brendan, what do you think of that? What do you think of that reaction right there? What do you like that?
It's more this end.
you-
Sorry, I know you might be a little confused. As an engineer, you might not know all your products and your instruments, but that's
the business
Yeah,
end?
this ain't. Yeah, no. I could teach you a few things about how to handle
I think
an
I'm
object,
gonna pass.
but
I'm gonna pass on that. I think Amanda might be interested, though.
that's Caden's mom.
Sorry.
This just got derailed. This is derailed. Okay,
Stop.
we're gonna put this away now. Okay, thank you. Don't damage my floor again. Yeah, we'll speak to your lawyers about that. People are telling us to stop. On that note, I think that's it for the podcast this week. We're gonna do the hangout stream after.
That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, does she know that we do that? She's like, really?
Q&A period.
She doesn't know anything about this.
Yeah, we're transitioning, guys. We're transitioning into the hangout stream.
Well, I guess that. Is there anything else any of you want to add on the?
I really miss them.
Okay, bye guys.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. He needs to eat chocolate.
No, 5 minutes, guys. Don't say no. We'll be back in 5 minutes on the hangout stream.
Separate stream.